Cambodia has a problem, not just with scams, not just with crime, but with something much harder to fix, its reputation. Ask someone who's never been there, and there's a good chance they'll mention online scams, human trafficking, or dangerous headlines they've seen on YouTube. But ask someone who's actually traveled across Cambodia, and you'll probably hear a completely different story. A story about ancient temples rising through the morning mist, about strangers who became friends, about street food that cost less than a cup of coffee, and sunsets so beautiful they barely look real. So, which Cambodia is the real one? The country described by international headline, or the one experienced by millions of travelers every year? To answer that question, we're following the same journey most visitors take, from Phnom Penh to Angkor Wat to Sihanoukville, and finally to the islands that many travelers say changed their opinion of Cambodia forever. Along the way, we'll uncover the scams that actually target tourists, separate myths from reality, and answer one simple question: should Cambodia still be on your travel list in 2026? Because the truth is far more complicated than the internet would have you believe. Ten years ago, Cambodia had a very different reputation. It was often described as Southeast Asia's hidden gem. People came here for one reason: adventure. Backpackers wandered through Siem Reap, photographers waited patiently for sunrise at Angkor Wat, divers explored the waters around Koh Rong, and travelers discovered a country that felt authentic, affordable, and refreshingly untouched. Back then, most travel videos asked one question: why isn't everyone visiting Cambodia? Today, the question has changed completely. Now people ask, is Cambodia safe? So what happened? The answer begins with one city, Sihanoukville. Once a sleepy coastal town, it became the center of one of the fastest investment booms in Southeast Asia. Luxury hotels, casinos, high-rise apartments, billions of dollars in development. For a brief moment, many believed Sihanoukville would become Cambodia's version of Macau, but rapid growth created opportunities that extended far beyond tourism. Investigations later revealed that some buildings had been converted into large-scale online scam operations targeting victims around the world. International media covered the story relentlessly. Governments updated their travel advisories. Human rights organizations exposed forced labor inside scam compounds. Suddenly, Cambodia's image changed almost overnight. But here's where perception and reality begin to separate. Because while those investigations were absolutely real, they weren't describing the experience of the average tourist. The victims inside these compounds weren't backpackers exploring Angkor Wat. They were often people recruited through fake overseas job advertisements, promised legitimate careers before finding themselves trapped inside criminal operations. That's a very different story. Yet social media rarely rewards nuance. Algorithms favor fear. A thumbnail saying, "Never visit Cambodia," will almost always outperform one that says, "The situation is more complicated than you think." And that's exactly how reputations change, not because millions of tourists suddenly started having terrible experiences, but because millions of people saw the same frightening headlines. So before we decide whether Cambodia is dangerous, we need to ask a better question: what does a normal trip to Cambodia actually look like? Because once you land here, the country often feels completely different from the version you've been imagining. Let's forget everything you've heard for a moment. Forget the headlines, forget the YouTube thumbnails, forget the comments warning you to stay away. Now, imagine you've actually arrived. The airplane door opens, warm tropical air rushes into the cabin. Within minutes, you're standing in the immigration line with dozens of other travelers. Some are backpackers carrying oversized backpacks, some are families with young children, others are photographers carrying expensive camera gear. Everyone is here for a different reason, but none of them look frightened. Outside the airport, the first thing you'll notice isn't danger, it's energy. Drivers waiting patiently for passengers, hotel representatives holding welcome signs, the smell of fresh coffee drifting from small cafes, the constant hum of motorbikes weaving through the city. It's exactly what you'd expect from a growing Southeast Asian capital, not a city frozen in fear. One of the biggest surprises for first-time visitors is just how normal everything feels, because the Cambodia shown by international media is only one part of a much bigger picture. Walk through Phnom Penh in the early morning, office workers hurry to work, students fill the sidewalks, markets begin arranging fresh vegetables, tropical fruit and flowers before sunrise. By the time the city is fully awake, life has already been moving for hours. This is the Cambodia that rarely appears on international television, the Cambodia where ordinary people are simply living ordinary lives. Then there's Siem Reap. If Phnom Penh is Cambodia's economic heart, Siem Reap is its cultural soul. Every morning before sunrise, thousands of people quietly gather outside Angkor Wat, not because someone told them to, because they've spent years dreaming about seeing one of the world's greatest archaeological sites with their own eyes. And when the first sunlight finally touches the ancient towers, something remarkable happens. For a few brief moments, nobody speaks. Phones lower, conversations stop, even the busiest travelers simply stand still. It's one of those rare travel experiences that actually exceeds expectations. But Cambodia isn't just Angkor Wat. Drive a few hours south and you'll discover Kampot, a riverside town where life moves at a completely different pace. No rush hour traffic, no massive shopping malls. Instead, colonial buildings, quiet cafes, pepper farms, fishing boats returning home before sunset. Many travelers arrive planning to stay one night. They often leave wondering why they didn't stay longer. Further west lies Battambang, perhaps Cambodia's most underrated destination. Unlike Siem Reap, Battambang doesn't rely on world-famous temples. Instead, it wins people over slowly through its art galleries, its countryside, its bamboo train, its local restaurants, and perhaps most importantly, its people. Ask long-term travelers which Cambodian city surprised them the most, and Battambang appears far more often than you'd expect. Then there are the islands, Koh Rong, For years, these islands remained in the shadow of Thailand's more famous beaches, but today, many travelers consider them among Southeast Asia's most beautiful island destinations. Crystal clear water, white sand, jungle-covered hills, and beaches where it's still possible to walk for several minutes without seeing another person. Ironically, some visitors who almost cancelled their Cambodia trip because of alarming headlines later describe Koh Rong as the highlight of their entire Southeast Asia journey. So why doesn't this version of Cambodia receive the same attention? Because normal life rarely becomes breaking news. No international television network reports that millions of tourists safely watched the sunrise at Angkor Wat this morning. Nobody writes headlines about a family enjoying fresh seafood in Kampot or backpackers making new friends in a Siem Reap hostel. Safe journeys don't generate clicks, problems do, and that's why perception often becomes disconnected from reality. Of course, none of this means Cambodia is completely risk-free. Every destination has its challenges, every country has scams, every traveler should stay aware of their surroundings, but understanding Cambodia requires balancing two truths at the same time. The country has real security challenges, and yet millions of ordinary visitors continue exploring it safely every year. Both statements are true, and that's exactly why asking, "Is Cambodia dangerous?" is actually the wrong question. A better question would be, what are tourists actually most likely to experience? Because the answer isn't hidden inside an online scam compound. It's much more ordinary than that. And that's exactly where our investigation leads next, because while organized crime dominates international headlines, most tourists lose money in much simpler ways that begin with something as ordinary as stepping into the wrong tuk-tuk or trusting the wrong smile. By now, one thing should be clear. The scams making international headlines are not the scams most tourists experience. In reality, the biggest risks are much smaller and much easier to avoid. The first one starts the moment you leave the airport. Transportation. Most tuk-tuk drivers are honest and simply trying to earn a living, but some travelers make one simple mistake. They get in before asking the price. 20 minutes later, they're paying far more than they expected. The solution? Agree on the fare before the ride starts, or use a trusted ride-hailing app where available. Another common mistake involves money. Cambodia uses both the Cambodian riel and the US dollar in many everyday transactions. That surprises first-time visitor. Most businesses give the correct change, but if you don't understand the exchange rate, it's easy to become confused. Take a few extra seconds, count your change, and know the approximate value of the local currency before you arrive. Then there are the friendly recommendations. A stranger suggests a better restaurant, a secret market, or a special souvenir shop. Sometimes the advice is genuine. Sometimes it's simply a business that pays commission. Smile, say thank you, and make your own decision. Markets bring another lesson. Bargaining is part of the culture. The first price is rarely the final one. There's no need to argue. If the price doesn't feel fair, walk away politely. Very often, the seller will offer a better deal. One scam many travelers never expect involves renting a scooter. Everything looks fine when you collect the bike, but when you return, a scratch suddenly becomes an expensive repair bill. Experienced travelers avoid this with one simple habit. Before riding away, record a complete video of the scooter, every side, every mirror, every existing scratch. It takes less than a minute and could save you hundreds of dollars. Here's the interesting part. None of these scams are unique to Cambodia. You'll find similar situations in Bangkok, Bali, Ho Chi Minh City, even parts of Europe. They're not signs that Cambodia is unusually dangerous. They're reminders that every popular destination has opportunists. Preparation, not fear, is what keeps experienced travelers safe. But there is one place where Cambodia's global reputation changed almost overnight. One city, one investment boom, one dramatic transformation, and whether you've heard of it or not, it has shaped how millions of people see Cambodia today. Its name is Sihanoukville. Coming up, once a backpacker's paradise, Sihanoukville became the city that changed Cambodia's reputation. But what does it actually look like today? If one city changed Cambodia's image forever, it was Sihanoukville. Years ago, this was one of Southeast Asia's favorite backpacker destinations. Simple guest houses, fresh seafood, quiet beaches, a place where travelers stayed longer than they planned. Then came billions of dollars in foreign investment. Casinos appeared, luxury hotels followed, construction spread across the city. For a while, Sihanoukville looked like Cambodia's next success story, but the boom didn't last. When online gambling regulations changed, many projects stalled. At the same time, international investigations uncovered online scam compounds operating inside some buildings. Suddenly, Sihanoukville became known around the world for all the wrong reasons. But here's what's important. Most tourists never see that side of the city. They arrive, spend a night near the ferry terminal, then continue to Koh Rong or Koh Rong San Loem. The compounds that made international headlines were never tourist attractions. They were private, restricted locations linked to organized crime. Today, Sihanoukville feels like a city caught between two identities, part construction site, part beach destination, part gateway to Cambodia's islands. It's not the paradise some old travel blogs remember, but it's also not the lawless city many headlines suggest. And that perfectly summarizes Cambodia itself. Reality is usually more complicated than perception. Coming up, so after traveling across Cambodia, does the country actually deserve its reputation? So, is Cambodia actually dangerous? The answer isn't yes, and it isn't no. Cambodia is a country with real challenges. Organized crime exists, scams exist. Some border areas require extra caution. Those realities shouldn't be ignored, but they also shouldn't define an entire country. For most visitors, Cambodia is about ancient temples, friendly people, affordable travel, and experiences that rarely make international headlines. Like anywhere else, stay aware, protect your belongings, belongings, use reputable transportation, respect local customs, and avoid unnecessary risks. Do that, and you'll probably discover the same thing millions of travelers already have. The Cambodia in the headlines is only one chapter of a much bigger story. The rest of that story is written in sunrise walks through Angkor Wat, conversations with local families, fresh seafood by the river, and quiet beaches where the loudest sound is the ocean. Maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Not, is Cambodia dangerous? But, are we judging an entire country by its worst headlines? Because once you experience Cambodia for yourself, you may leave with a completely different answer. Closing, if you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe for more travel investigations that go beyond the headlines. Until next time, travel smart, stay curious, and always discover the story for yourself. Fade to black.